They say everything old is new again, and in the case of TV and movies, that's frequently true. And if you love a TV reboot, remake, sequel, or prequel, there are 3 series airing this month that fit the bill. And we will begin with the crime drama Perry Mason, which is currently in the middle of its 2nd season on HBO Max. Based on author and lawyer Earl Stanley Gardner's character of the same name, Perry Mason stars Matthew Rhys as a struggling private investigator who is thrust into the national spotlight while investigating a child's kidnapping in 1932 Los Angeles. If you are familiar with the 1957 CBS version of Perry Mason, you may be surprised to find out that this Perry Mason is a bit more graphic than its black and white predecessor, but it's an absolute must-see for anyone who loves a good thriller or a TV mystery. It's also HBO, so you shouldn't be surprised that it's a little more graphic than something that aired on CBS in the 50s. But Perry Mason airs Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern on HBO Max. Next up, Grease is the word. It's a word that can be heard right now on Paramount Plus, which plays home to an all-new series called Grease: Rise of the Pink Ladies. Based on the stage and movie musical Grease, this prequel series is set 4 years before the iconic film and follows teenagers Nancy, Jane, Olivia, and Cynthia as they create high school's original clique, the Pink Ladies. And while the series won't feature Frenchie, Jan, Marty, or Rizzo, there will be plenty of music to evoke the spirit of the John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John classic. Yes, this is a high school musical. And one thing I particularly love about this show is that the cast is comprised almost entirely of unknown actors, as was the case with many of the stars of the original. And Grease: Rise of the Pink Ladies premiered on Paramount Plus April 6th and has a new episode dropping every Thursday. Nicole, I feel like you got to be a Grease fan.
I am definitely a Grease fan. I mean, I saw it as a kid, and I thought I wanted to be Sandra Dee, but as an adult, I think Rizzo's the way to go.
That's true.
I mean, the confidence, the humor, everyone wants to be Rizzo, I think.
Which Pink Lady were you, Liz?
No, same. I might have been a Rizzo from the beginning, I think. But no, love it. I'm so excited to watch this. Yeah, we're ready. We're ready over here at the Cologne House. Oh, we're ready.
I think, which one was I? I was probably Marty. Whoever the one was. Brasham. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Jan did
Was it Jan? I don't know. She was just such a goof. I'm like, that's gonna be me. That's gonna be me.
That's actually pretty good. It's a good one. I might take that.
Brasham. It says right here, it's a dessert wine. I don't know. Now I'm just quoting Grease. All right. Lastly, on Sunday, April 30th, Paramount Plus will premiere the brand new erotic thriller series, Fatal Attraction. Based on the 1987 film of the same name, Fatal Attraction stars Lizzie Kaplan as a woman who refuses to put an end to her affair with a married man played by Joshua Jackson. The original film, which starred Michael Douglas and Glenn Close, was the highest grossing movie of 1987 worldwide, which I kind of can't believe, given all the great stuff from the 80s. And it would go on to earn 6 Oscar nominations, although it did not win any. If you have seen the TV series The Affair or Masters of Sex, you know that Joshua Jackson and Lizzie Kaplan know a thing or two about steamy TV romances. So this one should be very, very good. Paramount Plus will drop the first 2 episodes of Fatal Attraction on April 30th, with a new episode releasing every Sunday through June 11th. This is going to be a good one. If you still want more, if you have not had enough, our very own movies editor, Nicole, is going to give us all the details on some big screen remakes available in your own home. What you got, Nicole?
All right, so I'm going to kick it off with, Creed 3. Loved it. Michael B. Jordan hits us with a 1-2 combo, starring and directing in this 3rd installment. I mean, just a complete knockout. I loved it. I thought that he was very genuine to the character. He was not trying to live up to the hype of Rocky. He was not trying to avenge his father's death. He just completely had his own story, and I was here for it. The second one, I definitely want to talk about Scream 6. I love this. So It's definitely a gory title, as we all know, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of jokes. There's a lot of humor, and they really poke fun at the whole remake and sequel formula. You know, they even have their very own movie geek in there, and I'm telling everyone to watch it. So please watch.
Oh, before you go on,
Yes.
you know I have thoughts on this one. Nicole and I actually saw this at the same time.
Yes.
And man, if you really have to embrace the absurdity of the Scream franchise for this one. I mean, they really push the limits in terms of how many stabs a person can humanly or realistically survive. Like, I mean, they did all but tear a person apart, and he's still staggering out for the end of the movie. Like, I'm fine, guys. It's like, sir, you have no limbs. Like, he's torn you apart. I thought the setting it in New York was like really, really fresh and very exciting. They do some stuff even like from one of the very first scenes that is very different for the franchise. I loved some of those changes that they made, and definitely like the gore and the action and some of the kills really ramped up. And you're like, how could they possibly ramp this up? But it was. There's a great sequence in a subway. Like, New York really made a lot of fun situations. But this ending, I know I'm not in the same category as everyone. A lot of people still liked it. I thought the ending was the most ridiculous and maybe the worst I've ever seen. But I am very much alone in that. I understand.
Listen, I'm not ranking it above Scream 1 for sure, but I agree. I mean, the New York plot was really interesting, and Sydney Prescott's not in this one. It's all on a whole new Final Girl legacy, and I think that they carried it very well. You know,
our friend and colleague Scott said that Dermot Mulroney was performing for the back row of the theater on the other side of the street. I've never seen a performance like that. The scenery is riddled with his bite marks because that guy chewed it all up.
Oh wow, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait. Like, you got me. Like,
it's worth seeing. Really, it is worth seeing, definitely.
Yeah. I wasn't really excited to see it, but now I feel like I have to see it.
Yeah.
For better or worse, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the next one, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. That'll be on Paramount soon. But you know, let's roll the dice. Let's see how they do. I know the last one people were not too familiar with, but this one they've got so many great key players: Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Hugh Grant, and the Duke himself. So I'm sure it'll be a hit, especially with all of the Hellfire Club fans out there these days. I feel like that definitely helped it along, but I'm definitely excited for this one.
And Liz, you saw the movie.
I did, and I have to say, as someone who is not as familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, the movie, they did such a phenomenal job with not being needed, right? So I did not feel lost. The plot was still great. The entire movie was great. And I think for those who do follow Dungeons and Dragons and are fans, all of the little Easter eggs and all of the nods to the original game are there, right? So at least that's what I'm learning as I'm doing some additional research. And I'm like, oh, that made sense. But it was so good. And I'm excited because I have some hangouts coming out soon with the cast. So make sure you stick around and watch some of our next shows for some of that, hopefully. But yeah, super excited for the rest of the family to see this and for all of you to be able to see this for sure.
How was the Duke? How was he?
You know, like in real life or in the movie?
Oh, in real life. Regé-Jean Page?
Yes, he was literally, if there's a word to describe him, was lovely, because he truly was lovely. And if you're familiar at all with these press junkets, it's a long day for them, right? And it's a long day for us too. It's a lot of waiting and sitting around, and you get in there and it's just like, get right to it. But he was a lovely, lovely person. And there was a lot of really great conversation that is probably not going to get picked up for the actual hangout, but he was great. And in in the movie, his character plays someone who is sort of like a hero and very, it's Zenk. So for those of you who know that character, and I don't, or didn't, just like the straightest of all moral compasses and is always trying to do the right thing. And it was, his performance was really great.
Awesome. Well, you love to hear that. And you want him to be successful because he basically left Bridgerton to go be in movies. So hopefully it works out. But based off Bridgerton season 2, I think he jumped at just the right time. Just saying.
Tell us what you really think.
Well, thank you, Nicole. And you can check out all the TV shows and movies we just talked about simply by saying what to watch into your voice remote.